Welcome inside the latest edition of Trailblazer Weekly, now on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. As always, I'm your host, Keric Seegmiller. Hope you had a good holiday break. It's the first episode of 2017, and today we'll recap last week's basketball and swimming results, as well as take a look ahead at the next week in Trailblazer athletics. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. Trailblazer Weekly starts now. The women's basketball team traveled to Northern California last week for a stretch of 3 games in 5 days. The Trailblazers went in search of their first win of the season, but didn't claim just 1 win on the trip, rather 2 wins in the 3-game stretch. The trip started in Fresno, California, as the Trailblazers battled Fresno Pacific last Tuesday. Ashley Burge powered the Trailblazers to a 72-64 victory over the Sunbirds, scoring a career-high 26 points and grabbing a career-high 12 rebounds. Allie Franks added another career high at 16 points as Dixie State recorded its first win of the season. The Trailblazers next made the 3-hour drive north to San Francisco to take on Academy of Art on Thursday. The Trailblazers took a brief lead in the second quarter, but the Urban Knights responded with a 20-0 run to take control, eventually winning 75-50. Tremina Jordan finished with a team-high 16 points, while Ashley Burge added 11 points in the loss. Dixie State ended the week with a Saturday afternoon grudge match with Notre Dame de Namur on Saturday. You remember, the Argonauts defeated Dixie State 88-82 in overtime here in the Burns Arena on December 17th. Well, this time, the Trailblazers served up a plate of revenge at the Notre Dame de Namur gym. Dixie State erased a 14-point deficit in the second half as Jaden Gonzalez buried a 3-pointer from the right wing with 22 seconds remaining, and Maddie Ventley converted 2 free throws to clinch a 66-63 win for Dixie State. Ashley Burge finished with a team-high 18 points, while Gonzalez and fellow freshman Allie Franks each added 15 points. Trailblazers are now 2-6 in Pac West play, with another 3-game and 6-day stretch coming this week. Starts this Wednesday and will go through the weekend until this coming Monday. To men's basketball now, as the men made the same trip as the women's team. Dixie State started the week atop the Pac West standings and had but 1 goal: stay there. Dixie State built a 16-point halftime lead at Fresno Pacific last Tuesday, but the Sunbirds refused to go down easy. FPU trimmed the lead to 2 points late in the game, but DSU managed to hold on for a 76-73 victory. Kyler Nielsen led the way with 13 points, while Brandon Simister and Zach Hunter each finished with 12 points. After the game, 12 games into the season at that point, Dixie State had not seen a game win or lose end in less than an 8-point margin. But that all changed on Thursday at Academy of Art in San Francisco. Dixie State built a big lead in the first half and rode that wave of momentum to a 73-48 win over the Urban Knights, its first double-digit victory of the season. Brandon Simister and Austin Montgomery each finished with 12 points, while Marcus Bradley added another 11 points off the bench in the win. Trailblazers then played their 3rd game in 5 days at Notre Dame de Namur on Saturday in Belmont, California, and it showed early on, with the Trailblazers a little sluggish in the first half. The host Argonauts exploded out of the gate, building a 15-point lead in the first half. Dixie State managed to settle down and cut the lead to 7 points at halftime. Trailblazers then rallied out of the halftime break to tie the game. It went back and forth throughout the second half, and eventually Dixie State took the lead for good en route to a 77-72 win that saw Brandon Simister hit a game-clinching 3-pointer from the same right wing as Jaden Gonzalez in the women's game. Trevor Hill finished with a game-high 26 points and 6 assists, while Simister added 11 points. Trailblazers are now 10-4 overall and remain atop the Pac West standings with a 7-1 mark in conference play. The women's swimming team hosted its debut home meet on Saturday, welcoming in number 14, Colorado Mesa. Dixie State posted several strong marks at the meet, which was held at the Washington City Community Center. Though the Mavericks won all 13 events and outscored Dixie State 175-69, the Trailblazers recorded 9 second-place finishes on the day. Freshman Gracie Kroll notched 2 of Dixie State's 9 second-place showings, including runner-up finishes in the 100-yard backstroke and 100 butterfly. Other second-place finishes included freshman Katie Pack in the 1,000 freestyle, freshman Kayla Greer in the 200 back, freshman Millie Snelders in the 200 breaststroke, freshman Megan Draney in the 500 free, and sophomore Mackenzie Fitzgerald in the 200 IM. In addition, the 4x400 medley team placed second at 4:12.24, and the 400 free relay team clocked a 3:47.08 in taking second in the final race of the day. So, congratulations to the men's and women's basketball teams going 5-1 combined in California, and a big shout out to our women's swimming team hosting their first ever home meet and having a good showing at that. It's time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show with a look ahead in the next week in Dixie State athletics. Don't go anywhere. There's more Trailblazer Weekly after this timeout.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
There is a place where rocks bleed and nature blushes on a battlefield green with envy, where dimples determine destiny and a tiny wooden tee holds the outcome in the balance. There is a place where friends are opponents and opponents are friends, where the prize is elusive, the conquest is captivating, and the score isn't settled till the drinks are down. There is a place.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me
And me.
help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
How you doing, Southern Utah? It's a good day to be alive in the STG.
I'd have been going nuts.
You would have lost your mind!
I could not believe he didn't even shake there. He gave him the finger, Devin. No!
Southern Utah's home for the best in sports includes local Region 9 high school games, Dixie State University, the NBA's new look, Utah Jazz, plus the best of the National Football League with the worldwide presence of ESPN. To the Devin Dixon Show every afternoon from 4 to 6.
Welcome back inside Trailblazer Weekly. Well, hard to believe, but it is time already to wrap up the show. We'll take a look ahead at the next week in Trailblazer athletics. First, just a little bit of a disclaimer, no interview, no player profile today because we're back after the long break. Students are just getting back into classes and coaches are out recruiting and getting ready for upcoming road trips. So we'll pick it up in our next episode with our coaches' interviews and our player profiles. Just wanted to issue that disclaimer here. So go ahead now and follow along on your screen as we let you know what events are at home, which events are on the road in the coming week for Trailblazer athletics. It all starts tomorrow night, Wednesday, inside the Burns Arena. Pac West basketball. The women's team and the men's team hosting the Penguins of Dominican University of California. The women's game will tip off at 5 p.m. The men tipping off at 7:30 p.m. Of course, we'll have both of those games right here for you on CEC TV as well as SouthernUtahLive.com. A little bit of a programming note for the men's game, at least on the radio side, originally slated for an ESPN 97.7 FM on the radio. That has been switched to KDXU 890 AM. So if you fancy listening on the radio, make sure during that men's game you tune your radio to KDXU 890 AM. Again, those are the only home games of the week for the basketball team. If you want to come out and support, please be there. It'll be a great game. Dominican, always a good team. This will pose a tough challenge for both teams. So come out, show your support in these big basketball games on Wednesday. Moving along to Friday, the women's swimming team will be in Los Angeles, California as they participate in the Loyola Marymount Lion Invitational. That will start at 1 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Utah time on Friday. That will continue into Saturday. It will take place most of the day Saturday afternoon. The men's and women's basketball teams also in action on Saturday as they travel out on the road yet again after being gone all last week. The basketball teams will be at Point Loma in San Diego, California. The women's game slated for a 2 p.m. Pacific time tip. That's 3 p.m. here in Utah. And the men, 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. here in Utah. Nothing on Sunday. We move ahead to Monday in our final events of the next week. It's Dixie State, the women's basketball and men's basketball teams at Concordia Irvine in Irvine, California. The women's game at 5:30 p.m. Pacific tip, which is 6:30 here in Utah, and the men's game 7:30 p.m. tip there in Irvine, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time, if you want to follow along there. Of course, we'll have those results for you next time on the show. If you want to follow along sooner, head to DixieAthletics.com for full recaps and box scores and statistics as well. So again, big basketball games on for both teams on Wednesday. Come out, help pack the Burns, and show your support for our great student athletes and coaches. We'll keep you up to date on the women's swimming meets this weekend as well. With that, that'll do it for today's show. We appreciate you watching. Remember, you can catch all episodes of Trailblazer Weekly on demand at SouthernUtahLive.com, as well as on the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page. Again, I'm Keric Seegmiller. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your week. We'll see you next time on Trailblazer Weekly.